Hello, everybody. This is Lee Phillips' Journey of Truth. We are at the City Council chambers for the City Council work session. Today is Monday, August the 10th, 2026. It is 20 after 6. This will get started in about 10 minutes. So we're just going to hang out and be ready. While we're waiting, y'all don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and ring that bell, because you never know when I'm going to drop a video. Tired that yard work about killed me today. I let the grass get too high, so now I have to do a lot of raking to get the clippings up. And I gotta go back and weed eat tomorrow and then rake up those clippings from the weed.
It and sold it for hay.
I got a whole wheelbarrow full of some good grass. That's for sure.
No, it won't. Hey everybody, welcome to our August work session. Sorry we're about a minute late and we have a long agenda tonight, so let's go ahead and get started with the roll call. Everybody is here tonight and we need a approval of the agenda. We do have one thing that came up that needs to be added under Danny's, which is the Louisville Homecoming Parade and Pep Rally proposal. We will need an amended to add this. So I get a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment of adding the Louisville Homecoming Parade proposal. We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Up next is the mayor and council discussion items. I know we discussed on a retreat about having somebody come and talk to us, every month, a different department. But I figured with this agenda being so packed, I'll probably have them come to Thursday's meeting instead of tonight's meeting, to try and make this meeting a little faster. All right. And then we have discussion for nominations for the ethics board for discussion. You wanna say anything on this, Danny?
Yeah, you don't have to make no, just want y'all to be thinking about it. The terms expire end of October of this year, so we'll just need to maybe have that on the October agenda, have y'all's names so we can add them to the, whoever y'all's picks might be.
Do we need to reach, I've been trying to reach out to my nominee and I've been leaving messages.
Yes.
If it's my same person, can you just reach out to them, or do you need me to go ahead and?
Yeah, I can reach out, if y'all tell me it's the same, I can definitely know. Ms. Wolf's already told me hers was the same. And
Mine's
I'll
the
reach
same.
out to them, if I can't find them, I may shoot you an email saying if y'all have another contact.
Okay,
Yeah, if you're gonna go with someone else, let us know. If you're not, then I'll reach out and make sure they're good for the next 2 years.
okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Up next for discussion item is the proposal for the city manager recruitment. So as everybody knows, who's in the paper and on our Facebook page, Danny Roberts is retiring with us. Thank you for your many years of service. So with that said, we gotta find somebody who's going to be a replacement city manager. And to do this the right way, we talked about doing a recruitment system, and we got 2 bids sent in to us, and we got a 3rd bid from another group, an agency that just got it to us today. So what does the council want to do, or just open it up for discussion, or we actually wanna talk through it a little bit tonight?
Whatever the majority wants to do, but I've done a lot of research on the first 2, and I would find it unfair to have a in-depth discussion until I've done my research on this company. But whatever the majority wants to do, I'm fine with, but I wouldn't wanna do anything formal till Thursday when everybody's had, this was just in our
Yeah.
desk. So I just think that's fair,
Yeah, I've
but
only
it's
had
up to everybody else, I'm good.
I've only
whatever.
had about 10-15 minutes to look through it myself, so I get it. Anybody else?
I agree, if we can hold off until Thursday evening, we can do the discussion then, that way it gives us a chance to look at this 3rd proposal and kind of compare some numbers and whatnot.
That works for me. Anybody else?
I mean, I think it's safe to say that we're gonna need to hear from these people in person at some point, right? Kinda like we
I
did
kind of
with-
thought that's what we had talked about when we
Yeah.
first talked about the proposals, that we would
I
have
thought it
them.
was a decision on paper.
I mean, was that after, Andy or Jeff, was that after we got the proposals, then we invite them to talk, or how did that work out, do you remember?
I think a lot of this is because of timing. How long do we want to push this out or not much? Because even if we just narrow it down to 2 maybe, then maybe I don't have 2 people come in. However the council wants to do it. I'm just trying to think ahead here as well. I won't have people come in, I might add a month to try and
At least a
schedule
month,
them to
yeah.
come out at least, so they
At
can
least a month.
make it out here.
I mean, if that's the case, I'm up for a called meeting so that we can get this going as quick as possible.
True.
I mean, if that's what you wanna do, I mean, I thought, just with giving the papers, I've done a lot of research and everything, but I mean, I think it's a wise decision because they're making a huge they're taking on a huge task on our behalf. So yeah, I mean, if we're not comfortable with the person we're hiring to do the searching, so, I mean, if we wanna do a called meeting after we've talked Thursday, I mean, I think maybe we could eliminate one or so. I don't know.
I noticed at least one said it would be a 90-day process,
Mhm.
so that is putting it way on out there.
That's what I'm saying, so if we have to have another, just a, however long their little proposals, we wanna give them 20 minutes each, 15 minutes each, just one evening, for just a little while, it's not gonna take a long time, that'd be the only thing to be on that agenda. I would ask that we don't, oh, you're having a call meeting and we get all these other things added, that's the only reason that we would have that meeting,
Right.
is for that. And, we could do that, and after Thursday, we could probably say, hey, we wanna hear all three of them, we wanna hear two of them. Whatever, we like this person, let's hear them though, cause after we hear from them, we might not like them at all, kind of thing.
I think Bill said it best here recently, I forget who it was, but you made a comment that you can learn a lot about, just having someone come and present and talk to you for 10 or 15 minutes, you can learn a lot about them, so that's what I'd like to have them present.
Okay, so do we want to ask staff to reach out to these companies, or y'all wanna wait until Thursday and say we want to eliminate maybe one?
Let's have an opportunity to read that third one. I too obviously haven't had a
We'll wait
chance
till
to read the
Thursday
third
and we'll
one.
make a decision
I
Thursday.
think that'd be the best thing for us to do is wait on
Go.
Thursday, and then we can let staff know which way they'd like for them to go.
That works for me.
And thank you, Ainsley, for all your work on this.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sorry, you did as fast as you could.
No, that's okay.
I knew it would be crunched, but at least you guys could see it.
Yeah.
And then it would be in front of you before Thursday, so that you had a few days.
Right, so I appreciate that, so, I didn't mean anything by my email earlier, if it was taken that way, I was just like, I haven't even had a chance to look.
No, I knew
Okay.
it was gonna be crunched, but
And these
I
are-
was fast enough.
These are very detailed proposals. They are lengthy, they're probably a third of our packet about. So, alright, so we're gonna move on to Planning and Development Committee report.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We've got, agenda item number 3A, B, C, D, and E, which is variances, known as the Sprouts project. Robbie's gonna read all of these into record, and then we'll open the public hearing, then we'll close the public hearing, turn the meeting back over to Mayor and Council for questions and discussion with the applicant. And, so Robbie, if you'll go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Cases before you tonight. Case number V26-003, Kelly Hyatt on behalf of GBT Realty Corporation has requested a major variance for a property located at 530 and 540 Brand Road, Loganville, Georgia, 30052. Map and parcel number 5160057 and number 5160175, Gwinnett County, Georgia. Present zoning is CH. Ordinance and section from which relief is sought is the landscape buffer requirements for public right-of-way. Request for the variance is for a reduction of required 10-foot landscape buffer along Brand Road frontage with minor encroachments at select locations. This second case is the V26-004, Kelly Hyatt on behalf of GBT Realty Corporation has requested a major variance for property located at 530 and 540 Brand Road, Loganville, Georgia, 30052, map parcel number 5160057 and 5160175, Gwinnett County, Georgia. Present zoning is CH. Ordinance and section from which relief is sought is the landscape buffer requirements for public right-of-way. The request for the variance is the removal of the required 10-foot landscape buffer along Oak Grove Road frontage. Third case is V26-005, Kelly Hyatt on behalf of GBT Realty requested a major variance for the property located at 530 and 540 Brand Road, Loganville, Georgia, 30052. Map and parcel number 5160057 and 5160175, Gwinnett County, Georgia. Present zoning is CH. Ordinance and section from which relief is sought is the 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer. Request for the variance is an encroachment into the city of Loganville's 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer along Big Flat Creek. Case number V26-006, Kelly Hyatt on behalf of GBT Realty Corporation requested a major variance for the property located at 530 and 540 Brand Road, Loganville, Georgia, 30052. Map and parcel number 5160057 and 5160175, Gwinnett County, Georgia. Present zoning is CH. Ordinance and section from which relief is sought is a 25-foot non-impervious setback beyond the 50-foot buffer. Request for the variance is for the removal of the 25-foot non-impervious setback beyond the city of Loganville's 50-foot undisturbed stream buffer. And then the final case is case number V26-007. Kelly Hyatt, on behalf of GBT Realty Corporation, has requested a major variance for property located at 530 and 540 Brand Road, Loganville, Georgia, 30052. Map and parcel number 5160057 and 5160175, Gwinnett County, Georgia. Present zoning is CH. Ordinance and section from which relief is sought is the City of Loganville zoning ordinance off-street parking regulations. Request for the variance is for the reduction of required parking space length from 19 feet to 18 feet throughout the parking field.
Okay, thank you, Robbie. And now I'd like to invite the applicant, if you'd like to come up to the podium and tell us about your project.
And just for clarity for the record, this will be a joint public hearing on all of the 5 variance requests together.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. They're gonna pull the presentation for me. While they're pulling that up, I'll go ahead and give you a preview of the first 2 slides. We're proposing a Sprouts development here. So I am Kelly, I am the aforementioned mentioned Kelly Hyatt multiple times there. We are proposing the Sprouts development shopping center. So it's Sprouts anchored with adjacent retail or enclosed inline retail at 540 Brand Road. We are seeking the 5 variances listed in order to be able to develop a shopping center that could support a successful Sprouts and successful development on this parcel. So Sprouts, for those, turn on first. Back?
Yeah, back here.
On. No, you're good.
Thank you, Kyle.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. So Sprouts, it's what it specializes in is fresh produce, fresh natural grocers, with an everyday value. So it will bring more of a healthy options to Loganville. I know you guys have other groceries, but it has a much more robust sections of organic and natural food products to give more options to the local residents. They also have the wellness products and other natural grocery store needs, especially with people with allergies and other dietary restrictions in which they can only get certain things in certain products. Sprouts would offer that here to local Loganville community. They work integrated with the shops that work alongside of them. So you will see some standalone Sprouts that occur in some markets, but based on the demographics here and the location of the property, Sprouts needs the traffic generated by the adjacent retailers to make this entire development a successful development for everybody. So with that, I'll turn it over to Henry to talk to you more about the variances particularly and the hardships.
Thank you, Kelly. Good afternoon. My name is Henry Bailey, 3630 Peachtree Road, Atlanta, Georgia, Land Use Council for the applicant. And as she stated, Sprouts is really hoping this is an opportunity to create a very successful and viable project here in Loganville. And so with that said, we're requesting 5 variances. You've heard them before, but I'll briefly go over them again. Landscape buffer, which is removal of the 10-foot buffer along the public right-of-way. That's on Oak Grove, and then on Brand Road, a limited encroachment into the 10-foot buffer along the public right-of-way, a 50-foot stream setback, which would result in a minor encroachment into the 50-foot non-disturbance buffer. Then 25-foot stream setback encroachment, which would be the removal of the additional 25-foot non-impervious setback in limited areas, as you've seen on the site plan. And then finally, a parking stall with reduction from to 9 by 18 versus 9 by 19. Oh yeah, I got it. Okay, so first up, you know, when you're requesting variances, there are certain elements that you have to consider, and one of those elements involve whether there's a hardship created due to anything unique about the property. And in this case, the property size is one of those unique features that creates a hardship here. We're talking about approximately 0.78 acres of buffers and setbacks on this parcel that is roughly 3.61 acres. Now, if you look at a property typically around the same size and zoning, that number would be 6% of total income to create a total encumbrance around 0.22 acres. So what we're talking about is a 22% property area encumbered by buffers and setbacks on this site. As you can see, I don't know if you can see, can you see it on your screens there? Encumbered by areas that drastically reduce the buildable area where improvements can be located on the site. Second, you look at the shape of the property. And in this case, this property has a shape that by itself, if it weren't for the road taking, would be what you would call a perpendicular frontage. In other words, the property lines intersect directly with the actual right-of-way. In this case, the property's frontage is curved, and this is not created in any way by the applicant, nor was it created by the seller. In fact, it was created due to right-of-way realignment in 2010 along Oak Grove Road, which was done by a body that precedes you all in City Council. So that coupled with the stream buffers and the landscape buffers on the property shrink the buildable area of the site even greater, thus reducing the viability of the site for a grocer that needs the square footage as stated by the applicant, along with the retailer that will create the foot traffic to the site. And then third, we're looking at topography. Now, obviously topography is a big deal because when you have significant topography and elevation changes on the site, you increase engineering, you increase the amount of earthwork, the amount of dirt moving that's required to create a buildable area such that you can effectively build a desired project. And on this site, we're talking about a 25-foot fall across the entire property with 3% to 10% slopes on the property. So while that's not necessarily super significant, it is absolutely critical that must be considered when creating and establishing an area on the site that's buildable that would allow for the support of both the grocer and the necessary retail space. So with those three elements, you've got the size of the property, the shape of the property, and the topography. All conditions that were not created by the applicant nor the seller on the site that work together to create a hardship with respect to building a project that is viable, building a project that is able to be sustained here at this intersection in the city of Loganville that we believe supports our request for variance.
Brenda Shackelford, I'm a civil engineer, and I've been working on the site for this. And one thing, we know that traffic is really not a part of this variance application, but it did come up in a previous meeting, and there were some questions about it. So we've had a traffic study done ahead of time. We've submitted it. It's been reviewed by the county and by the city, and just want to briefly go over that the entrance on Brand Road is really only for truck and employee access only. And all the other customer trips will be off of Oak Grove Road. And then the intersection, according to the traffic impact study, when it's projected out without this being built out, it's still a poor level of service. And so having this build out is not significantly impactful to Brand Road. Just it's already not a great intersection. But again, this is stuff that we didn't. Sorry, it's not something that we about it, but we also know the variance is not really about the traffic, so.
And back to me, since the other, and I promise to wrap it up since I know you have a long agenda tonight. The other thing I wanted to mention, it's something we're working through with, staff, both the city and the county, is kind of the appearance of what this buffer, what it would mean if you do grant this buffer variances. So in the city of Loganville, the local collector road has a 60-foot right of way. Gwinnett County has an 80-foot. So for various reasons, Brand is definitely a county road and it has an 80-foot right of way. And Oak Grove here has an 80-foot right of way as well. So an 80-foot right of way with no buffer setback would feel the same driving along your car as a 60-foot right of way with a 10-foot buffer. So your amount of green space would feel the same as the city of Loganville standards meet. Now, at the end of the day, we understand that it's not on our property currently, but we are, along with some other pieces, wanting to propose some mitigation measures to help offset that, what we're asking for. But we are asking for some reductions in some code prescribed green space. We do want to make the most of the green space we have on our property. And so with that, we want to work with the county and city to put street trees in the right of way along Oak Grove Road. Certainly that's a little unique, but I think there's an appetite and interest for that to happen. For us to put those street trees maintained by us, so not a burden to the city by any means, or to the county. But we'll continue to maintain them, but that way they would feel, again, that 80-foot right of way with trees would look the same to anybody, any resident driving down that. It would look the same as any city road. And if, for whatever reason, that street does end up getting adopted by the city of Loganville, who already maintains it, and right of way is reduced, those would become part of our property and have us meet that requirement. The other thing we want to do is along Brand Road, add substantially more screening so that that thoroughfare stays attractive and someplace that you do want to pass by and someplace you're proud of. And so we proposed in the areas where we're encroaching in that right of way, we put evergreen shrubs to screen the parking so that it again it may feel like it's closer, but what you're seeing is green. And then same with putting some more like those tall skinny evergreens that would help us screen any of the back of house stuff that's necessary for any retail development, but certainly we can make it look better and make it look worse. We're proposing to make it look better. And then lastly, we want to propose in the back side of our property where we are asking for some stream buffer, some off setbacks, variances, putting in additional trees that would help reestablish, after we've disturbed that area, reestablish that natural vegetation, screening that backside to make it, not only will you not see it, but reestablishing any natural resources that are back there, as that would happen in the back of the site. So with that, here's just another rendering of the site, something we hope that even with the variances granted, with the mitigation measures we're proposing, that it's something that you guys can be proud of to have in your city and in your community. And with that, I guess we're open to questions.
Okay. Thank you very much. So at this time, I'd like to ask anybody from the public, if you'd like to come and speak in favor. Is there anyone that'd like to come and speak in favor? Anyone like to speak in opposition? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and turn the meeting back over to Mayor and Council for questions and discussion with the applicant.
Now you can come back up. Do we have any questions proposed from council on this?
You pointing at me, Keith? Okay.
Just real quick, I did want to point out that the traffic study was included in your packet as well as the 2 letters of support.
Since Keith pointed at me, I'll go first. My first question is, you stated many times that about your needs. So let me ask you, what was your site selection process? Because you haven't chosen a property that's conducive for your project. So what was your site selection process that led you to this piece of property?
So we have a team of acquisition. We have an acquisition team, and then what we'll do is find we call it a C point, for where it starts is to where there's the demographics met that there could support a Sprouts. And then from there, we look at available properties, we could look for off-market properties if we can find any that are willing to be sold as well. And so it's a matter of who would sell us property. And so within the parameter, within the radius from the C point at which, and so this is how we ended up on Sam's property.
Yeah, but they didn't take into consideration all the things that this property had going against it for your needs, did they?
At the time we put under contract, we didn't know of the stream buffer.
Okay. Another question, a few years ago, there was a realtor, Martin Hirsch Realty, and he came before council to get a piece of property rezoned up 81 North. Actually, it's ironic that it's the other end of Brand Road, and he said he was bringing Sprouts to Loganville. Was that your organization?
No.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think we were even working with Sprouts at the time.
Okay. I do have some other questions. Robbie, this question would be for you. On page 112, it was a letter from the property owner, I think, and he indicated that if this project doesn't meet the city's requirements and so on and so forth, that his intention would be to put in overnight truck parking and storage. Is that property suitable for that? What are the requirements for that?
They still have the stream buffers, they would have to install an 8-foot opaque fence, and probably some other mitigation efforts. I mean, is it possible for it? Yes, but it's not something that you can just flip a switch and flip it over to that. There would be a little bit more work involved in that.
Okay. I'm just wondering, because when they tell us if you don't do this, we're gonna do that, I just like to follow up with that. And then on page 116, let me ask you, I think this might be you too, Robbie, I'm not sure. It says that a potential mitigation the city could consider to reduce blah, blah, blah. It's the second and third paragraphs. The way I read that is that if we move forward with this project, then the city is then expected to bear the cost of these turn lanes and these decel lanes and things like that. That's the way I read that, and I could be wrong, so I'd just like for you to clarify that.
Not necessarily as part of if they were to get rezoned, if they were to get their variances, as part of the planning process, as part of the permitting process, they would be required, if the problem is these are Gwinnett County roads, so we don't have as much latitude in taking a project and making it building center turn lane or a right turn lane, because they're Gwinnett County roads.
So then the city, either way, would not be bearing the cost of bringing this project to the city, right? We would not be, that would be Gwinnett County, and they would be.
As far as the road conditions are, yes.
Okay. I noticed there was no crash data, and that is but that's again Gwinnett County, so that isn't anything that our folks would have data on. Go ahead, because I've got further notes down there. Somebody else while I flip over to where I'm going.
If I could, when I was looking at the plans, looking at the loading area in the back, the way it's laid out with the parking there behind the 8,800 square foot retail, looks to me like there's no way a tractor trailer could get in there and turn around and back into the loading area. How would that happen? Do you know?
Our truck turn shows it coming in from Oak Grove, routing around the back, and then backing up and heading out that way.
Okay. I was wondering if that was kind
So
of
it'll
the
only
thing.
exit.
So
Yeah.
then they pull up and back in.
Yes, pull up back in, they will only exit, and then that would be for employee parking in the back.
Okay, thank you. One other thing I was looking at, the parking spaces on the Brand Road side, would there be any way that those could be taken out, if you will, and y'all still have enough parking for the rest of the project, or no?
We're already under what we would like to see for the parking needs of the development. There's a possibility we could take them out, but I believe we would be under your zoning code allowance, and we'll be back another major variance for that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Right, at that point, that number of them?
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I think I have one last question for myself. Throughout reading our staff's recommendation, they state over and over again that if you would consider a smaller footprint project, you probably wouldn't even need to be asking us for variances. So my question is, can we look at a smaller project? Can you put a smaller project there? And as far as the parking spaces go, almost everybody in Loganville, most of the people are driving SUVs and trucks, and it's already hard to get in and out of a standardized parking spot. So if you reduced your footprint, then you probably we wouldn't even be here tonight. Is there not any way that you can make this project work?
So our original concepts had closer to 12,000 square foot of shops on it. And so we have reduced it quite a bit to try and stay as much as we can. But the Sprouts isn't interested in the site without the shops. It won't meet their, it won't meet the traffic that they're looking to generate to make a successful store that will operate, and so they won't sign a lease. They won't come. In terms of the parking space size, we are asking for a smaller size. It is consistent with Gwinnett and Walton County's parking size requirements.
Okay, thank you.
How long were those big trucks that blocked my view?
It depends. If you got a 4-door pickup truck, Danny and I measured his truck one day because we were looking, sometimes it was a little over 23 feet or 22 feet.
And you're estimating the parking spaces to be 18 to 19 feet?
18 feet from 19.
So if one of these trucks, which they seem to dominate here in Loganville anyway.
With a trailer hitch sticking out the back.
Yeah, some of them even have some on that trailer hitch. How would they park in your spaces without running off the road or into the grass or?
My husband personally drives one, and he just always parks on the outside so he can overhang into the grass.
So if there's not a space on the outside,
They
you couldn't accommodate them?
They may be overhanging if they were there for a long period of time, but that's consistent with how they would operate or how they drive in the rest of the counties.
And are there 27 spaces? Did I read that somewhere, 27
That's what I was gonna say, just looking at it, I'm just kind of doing a high level estimate, but it looks like, I'd say more than half of the spaces are on the outside or against an area where they can have an overhang. So I mean, that's a lot for something like this.
I don't know about Loganville.
You guys know city, I understand.
My sister used to say you had to own a dually to live in Loganville. I don't know if that's true, because I don't know.
I was gonna say, I could drive.
Certainly traffic and safety are very high priorities to Loganville. We're certainly happy to see that you all are looking at Loganville. I will say, and I was even talking to Robbie about this the other day, I'm glad to hear that Gwinnett has 80 feet of right of way along Grant Road. But that being said, it's a connection. It's also been one of our potential connections between State Route 20 and 78, trying to get truck traffic off of Loganville. And in that case, we would need every bit of that 80 feet, which concerns me when you're literally pulling your parking space, losing the buffer, pulling it right to the right of way. So that's certainly a concern on my end. As far as the traffic study goes too, there's not having that driveway 3, that third driveway, which is only for the trucks and the employees, means that all of the other population is gonna exit through Oak Road. Obviously there's a connection that come out at the traffic light the other direction, but that intersection is really tough as it is. So I know poor is poor, but that's a hard sell to us as well, because we understand it's a bad intersection, but have to see something better than that.
We're continuing to work on that traffic study and moving it along. We wanted to get it going a little earlier than required necessarily, because we knew it was a concern in this area, but we still have some work to do with our engineers and the city and the county, and get everybody, there's some revisions and see how all that works out. But we will certainly, by the state mandate of PEs, say that as a PE myself, human, life safety is always the top priority.
I mean, I mean, for myself, the ask along Oak Road is not as, it's strong to me, but Brand Road, protecting that and making sure. I mean, I like the fact that you're saying, hey, maybe we could do a planted buffer there, but if we ever came back, it's gonna be gone anyway. I would rather have some type of buffer along that right of way, as a minimum, myself.
All right,
If I could ask one more question, maybe Robbie, this is to you. The wetland area back there where the buffers are, is this actual active wetland or is it just when it rains or? It's a state waterway. Okay, thank you.
I got a quick question. Keith touched on it a little bit there, talking about the parking situation. Cause I see in one of y'all's plans that y'all submitted, I believe it was page 237 in our packet, where y'all proposed, actually, it looks like y'all proposed getting out of the buffer in the back, but still having to reduce parking to get up there. Was then put y'all at 108 spaces instead of the, what was it, 200 per, what? I'm trying to, it's so small to read this. From the 181 to 108, but y'all are looking to protect as much parking as possible instead of reducing parking.
So the alternative site plan was provided in compliance with your, variance request requirements, and to show how you could, what you could do to not, impact the stormwater buffer. So that's what that was meant to submit, but in that, I don't think, well, I know, the customers never be enough parking for customers to go to that center. And Sprouts or any other shop user would not be interested.
Are you looking for any particular type of retail?
So we have a couple different interested parties. I know, I don't wanna overpromise because I know that people do it all the time, but we do have, an interested two breakfast concepts on the end, but, other than that, we're open to anybody. So we're actively out leasing it. I've been holding my leasing guys back until the results of this meeting because I do not wanna overpromise anything. But, if we were successful with getting our variances, they would like to have the center fully leased by the end of the year, so.
Another quick statement, really, I guess I should say, is almost I thank y'all for wanting to look in Louisville. I've had a lot of people actually reach out and say they should do, would like a Sprouts in the area. I do know from being in the economic field a little bit, Gwinnett County is very attractive with the rooftops and disposable income. Walton County is less than a stone's throw away from there. So there's properties out there. But I'm saying, Gwinnett County, wonder, the want to be in Gwinnett County for this. But thanks again for wanting to look at Louisville.
any other questions? Okay, then we'll move on. Next on our agenda, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. And we'll take a vote on Thursday night for each individual case, and what we consolidated Thursday night. Thank you. Okay, next agenda item number 3E is the Rocky Creek Plat, Phase 2 final plat.
Yeah, so, this is the second and final phase of this project. They broke it off a little bit because they discovered there was some more, unbuildable lots back there, so they're trying to reconfigure and figure out what to do with that back parcel. But it's here for your viewing pleasures.
And Nancy, I saw your eyes, you're right, it's 3F. I cannot read. You're right, you're right. So I just wanna make sure everybody remembers the history on this, is that the council back in 2018 voted on these subdivisions. We're not voting on whether to approve the subdivision that's already been done. And then I think they came back and asked for a variance and it was denied at some point in time. So now they've been working with you and staff. And so now here we are at the final phase 2. And then first thing I do, because of what we've learned with Sharon Commons neighborhood, is to go look on here for the minutes and the conditions, and both are here. So it looks like to me this is just a matter of housekeeping on Thursday night. We take a vote to approve the final plat, unless anyone has any questions or, okay?
I just did want to provide a little update on the consultants. Staff is to have our comments back August 24th. We expect that same week the public facing document will be released. They will have a meeting in, I believe, October. They will come and do a presentation to discuss it a little bit. But so I just wanted to give you guys that next step on where the consultants are. And then we have the City of Loganville will be hosting a comprehensive plan meeting. I'm sure you're all eagerly excited about this. At August 24th here at City Hall. It'll be 6 p.m. Northeast Georgia Regional Council will be hosting that meeting. This is an opportunity for residents to come in and comment on the guiding document for the city and the county for the next 5 years, 10 years with a 5-year update. So, it's a Monday.
What day is the Monday?
And please, anybody they have a website with a questionnaire on there. Please
I
go.
think they've taken the survey.
They've taken out a survey off.
They've taken out the survey.
Would you send us an email or something?
Yeah, once they're supposed to send me the graphics so I can put it on social media, and then I'll give it to you guys.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Robbie. Mayor,
That is all we have for planning and development.
All right, thank you so much, Lisa. Up next, we have the Finance Committee report. Keith?
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing we have on the agenda tonight is an update on Taco Park. The city applied for a $40,000 grant from the Walton County Foundation grant. It's to be used for reducing the amount needed for landscaping at the park. So that's before us tonight. And if I'm not mistaken, we have already received the money, correct?
We have the check, we have not cashed it.
Thank you.
All right, any thoughts or discussion on this?
I say accept it.
Okay, there we go.
I say thank you to the Walton County Foundation.
Yes, thank you to Walton County Foundation for this grant.
And the reason y'all have to accept it, because it's gonna amend the budget that y'all approved. That's why.
Okay. We'll put it on consent.
I was gonna say, if there's no other discussion, if we put it on consent, that'd be great.
Everybody okay with consent?
Awesome, thank you, that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you so much, Keith. Some good news there. All right, next we have the Public Safety Committee report. Councilwoman Long.
Thank you, Mayor. The first thing, I think both of them are just a matter of housekeeping, but we'll go over them. It's time again that we renew our SRO agreements, that is our school resource officers, for the 26-27 school year. Board of Education, I believe they upped, I think Chief Lowry worked on that and got that upped a little bit to $150,000. So we just have to vote on that. Is there any questions?
I just got one that's kind of tacky, but anyway. Why do we need, an SRO, is that the initials, am I saying that correctly? At an elementary school?
Well, the biggest reason for that, honestly, now, right, they do more.
Mike.
It's off, hold on.
How about
I don't want to tell the chief what to do, so he might want to say
A lot of it in today's world is security. Is having an armed officer there, and I hate that that's where we're at in this world, but we are. We anticipate, probably in the next school year, that you're gonna see SROs in every elementary school in Walton County. You know, there was a big thing next door in Barrow County, obviously after Appalachia, that they're doing that. too is they're different. They have a school police department, which is about 275 officers, to give you an idea of the size of their school system, but they have them everywhere. It's unfortunately
It is
the way of the future, and I hate that that's true, but it is.
Okay, well, I just am living in different times in my mind.
Yes, ma'am, I understand completely.
I will say my daughters go to one of the schools, and the SRO there is amazing. It's actually very good for their first experience with police officers to be in that type of setting. So they actually learn. I went to a career day, and like half the kids in the class wanted to be a police officer because
That's
of
good.
the
That's
SRO
good.
being in the
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
and seeing all that. They even have the program. He made the news
Yes.
for being able to win a lunch break with them.
I saw that, yeah, I read about that.
So I know it started out to be a very, decisive thing,
The
because it
reason,
would have to
yeah.
have security in schools, especially in primary, I get it. And when I did the principal for a day, and I believe Wes did that as well, actually, I did a round with, our SRO, and it's very, police thinking when it comes to stuff I would never have thought of, like, to be checking and stuff.
Things to look forward and whatnot.
Yes.
He actually memorizes the names of every child. in
Yes.
Oh, my
I don't
goodness.
know how, but
I know.
he is currently the longest serving SRO in Walton County School System.
I don't
It's
wanna-
over 20 years.
I don't wanna just brag on them, but I know we have a lot of
Oh, yeah.
SROs,
He's great.
So,
So it's turned out to be a good thing.
Yes, ma'am.
That's
It has.
good.
It has.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Okay, so if we're all okay with that, can we put that on consent? Okay. The second item I have, the purchase of 4, patrol units. These will be for the 4 new officers, and this will be being spent out of the 2019 Walton County SPOS money. It's $279,187.11. That includes a $5,000 contingency. And we expect a December or January delivery. We will not pay for these until they come in. And what I'm really happy to announce is that Loganville Ford won the bid.
Yes.
So
I'm
we are
glad about
gonna be doing business with our
Very glad.
hometown dealer. I think that's a positive step. Again, as Chief and I said, if it doesn't go well, the next person might come along and do it. But I think we should always give our local businesses an opportunity, and we did, and they came in substantially lower. And so it saves the taxpayers a lot of money, plus we're
It's a
dealing
local
with our
business.
local businesses.
That's the
So-
first thing I noticed was.
Mhm.
Ford, local
So,
Ford.
if y'all are okay with the purchase of those vehicles, if you wanna put them on consent, we can do that?
Sure.
Okay. All right, and, that's all I have, Mayor.
thank you so much. Up next, we have the Public Utilities Committee report. And, Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I have 2 agenda items tonight, and the first one is there's a spiral assembly, got a piece of equipment that broke. They welded it back together to make temporary repairs, but it needs to be replaced. This thing transports solids from the compactor, and then it disposes of them in a dumpster. It sounds like a pretty critical piece of equipment. The staff has recommended approval for this purchase and replacement. The city staff is gonna do the installation themselves. The cost is $20,423, and it comes out of the line item 505-4300-52-2203. Any questions?
No real question, I just got a little shocked when I saw the pictures they included on this thing. It doesn't like the other use for it is for meat, so that's, that kinda caught me by surprise, but when looking at the company, it looks like they specialize in, is really, it looks like top tier.
So, with that, we'd like to put it on consent. Everybody good with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the second thing up is the Tommy McFuller. So, we've got a price there. We have to, that original estimate, that we had additional work to get the work done. The total cost is $317,613.65. I would like to just take a moment and appreciate the work by our Director of Public Utilities and Director of Public Works and all of their staff that worked relentlessly out there to get this work done. Also out to Jimmy Parker, PPI engineer, that stayed with them as well. And you couldn't have got it done without the work of the contractor, Matthew Development Corporation, and Mr. Matt Art, that did this. So it's a big, you know, it's always inconvenient when something like this happens. No one can plan for it. There's no crystal ball that says we gotta do this next. We certainly don't have unlimited funds, but when it does happen, we really appreciate the work that everybody did and pull that through. This is sinkhole started, and then they had to, you know, tear and replace pipe and put back roadway, and you know, it's a big deal. So that the work's covered. This cost is covered under line item 375, 430, 20, 541, 400. I think we all had lots of calls, lots of stuff, social media, everything. But anyway, anybody else have any questions or anything on this? Glad it's over with. With that, I would say we can keep it down to consent. Really good. Job's done. Thank you again, all the hard work.
Yes, 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 and the hot sun.
That's my utility report.
Thank you so much, Councilman Duval. Up next, we have Facilities Committee report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I want to bring you up to par. I talked with Chief Johnson today. Station 16 has been reopened for the remodels, so they're currently back in their stations. Thank you, Chief, for that. EMS should be moving in tomorrow, so that's our median crew. He told me that they're going to be moving in tomorrow. Also, we have the Tyler Park is being worked on right now. We're about 2 months out, hopefully quicker. We're getting some park benches and some tables that we're having to bring in. The city's taking care of that. I talked to Jeff about that today as well. The other thing is the library opening. They're gonna be doing a grand opening in September, on September 19th. It's gonna start at 10 a.m. until 11:30. So they're gonna be doing a ribbon cutting, and at noon they're gonna be doing a magic show. So that's gonna be coming up next month. I'll recap you on that in September as well to remind you that we're gonna be doing that. Also, we're gonna get Christy, I think she's gonna get up and speak on behalf of the homecoming parade. If she's here, I guess she's not.
I think
She left.
she's
Anyway,
leaving.
we're gonna be doing a homecoming parade, for the, Loganville High School, so it's gonna be coming up, so it'll be, for our students that are attending school, so we're gonna be doing that for them as well. So,
You wanna go ahead and talk about it?
yeah, yeah, if you don't mind, Dan, if you wanna go over everything, so.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yeah, this came up, from one of the teachers at Loganville High School, Mr. Edwards, I believe is his name, Dennis. Is he here by chance?
I don't see him.
I invited him not to come if he had any questions, but this is something that they wanna do. I did confirm with him by phone on Friday that this is something that the administration at high school is supporting the principal. I got a phone call to them. They have called me back. I have not returned their call yet. But this is gonna be a cluster for Loganville, not just Loganville High School, but obviously Loganville High School is the high school and the other schools feed into it. So their plan is to have all the clusters of Loganville come in, do a parade. They're trying to get that working. As you know, parades take a lot of staff to coordinate. They also want to use Town Green, which, you know, we rent Town Green, but I think if the government, that's why I was imperative that this is the government, the school asking, not a booster club or individual. So this is coming from the Board of Education requesting use of Town Green as a joint project. We would still be responsible for the staff that it takes to put the barricades, the police officers to block the roads, but a little bit different. This parade was starting in the front parking lot here at City Hall. It would go out on Main Street, go down to Braxton's, turn, go back to C.S. Lloyd, back here, and then everyone migrate to the town green for a pep rally. They want to get the businesses in downtown involved. They want to put the spirit inside the windows, talk with them. Old school, if y'all remember back in the football games, everybody would get involved. Kind of great feeling, I think. I think it's something y'all want to get behind, support the kids, support the programs. So I think it's a great event. We all know the parade's kind of tough the first couple of years to get people participating, but they've assured me they're going to have all the civic clubs from the schools, marching band, potentially all the other clubs that they have now in the school, which when I was there was only like 2 or 3. There's a lot more now. But that's who's going to be in the parade. Anybody else that may want to sign up, my knowledge will be a sign up will be free. I'm not sure if they'll open up to other businesses, but I believe they are. If they can't do the parade, option B would be just to do the pep rally. So I told them I will present this to you tonight for your approval. This all hinges on the state of Georgia allowing us to close the road down. They will write a letter, we'll put it on the letterhead. Myself or the mayor will sign that letterhead if y'all give him some authority to do that, and we'll see if we can get the road closed. No road closed, no parade. It's that simple. But we're looking in your packet, you'll see parade starts at 7, and hopefully they said 7:30, but hopefully we're gonna say 45 minutes to an hour. We should have everyone back here, roads reopened, and then back to town green. And then the town green will, like any concert, will have the side roads blocked off. At Main Street, Broad, Covington will be, McConnell will be blocked off, so nobody gets hit there. So that's the plan. Just need y'all's permission to let them use the town green. They will provide the sound equipment, because I told them we don't have none, and their permission to let the mayor and myself sign the letter to you requesting the closure of Main Street and the overtime cost.
Yeah, so a lot of this kind of came up when Dennis Edwards actually ran into me on Main Street one day and said he did something like this at the school that he used to be at. He would like to do something like that here locally, since the Loganville High School was actually named after the city, and the other cluster, even though they're not technically in the city limits of Loganville, they share our name. So we wanted to put this on, but it's not just to show all the respect to football players and stuff like that, but for all their clubs. So, you know, volleyball might come and have a float, and the other clubs like that. And I think that was mainly what they were looking at about being in the parade. It's not really, I believe, a money-making effort or anything like that on their behalf. It's really just to build community pride. And I think we can all use a little bit more community pride here.
I love it. You know, I rode in many high school parades. I played basketball at Loganville High School, and you didn't have to get permission back then. We just rode up 78.
Yeah.
When 78 was too late, you turned down Main Street. I'm looking forward to bringing the kids back down and seeing some liveliness and some youngsters downtown. I think it's a great thing that we could do.
Yeah, and Patty also asked me before the meeting about the baseball team. And the schedules, a lot of the baseball's team that won this year, congratulations to them. They had summer ball, so it was really hard to coordinate. I actually got Christy talking with them so we could try and get them to come out before an event that we already had scheduled, but you can't really coordinate a lot of that. But they might be, and this is, I don't wanna overpromise, but they might be like the main parade or the grand champion or the marshal, that's what it's called. The grand parade marshal for the parade was to celebrate the baseball championship. I tried to get them to come into the meeting, and we kind of discussed it. Like, we kind of already done that. You know, let's try and do something out in the community instead of just in the council chambers. And this is kind of where it kind of landed. I know it's not, right after they won, but it's still a good opportunity, because I told them I know every year is hard. I know y'all win a lot, but we need to celebrate every victory that we have. Y'all's team did an amazing job this year, and let's celebrate how they would want to celebrate it. So this is kind of what they're thinking. So it kind of goes hand in hand with that as well.
And we just may have to come back for y'all sometime with a budget amendment for overtime, because this was not planned in the, advanced overtime budget. And it's gonna be at least what Chief Lowry was telling me, probably 10 officers, and Jeremy's probably gonna have at least 5 or 6 guys to pick up trash and put barricades out and get everything back up within an hour. It takes staff. So, we don't know what the exact cost is, because we don't know how much it's gonna be, but they're more likely, it may get into our overtime budget, but I think it's important that we do it.
I think it's wonderful.
So what do you need from us? Do you need a motion and a vote? Or?
Yeah, we'll just need a vote to just use town green without charging, and also give the mayor authority to sign the, closure for the, state highway 20. Same thing we do, similar to with the festival. I don't know if the mayor has to sign it, could be me, but if the mayor signs it, you have to get it.
And what is it called, sign the?
It's the, road closure for State Route 20 Main Street.
Okay.
When do you need this to be voted on, or?
Vote on Thursday that we allow them to use it for parade.
I'd like
Necessary
that.
costs associated with said parade.
I think that's a good thing. Thank you so much for explaining everything to us.
Well, is this something that needs to be voted on Thursday, or can we put that on consent?
You can put on consent if you wish.
Consent?
Oh, absolutely.
I always like consent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I had there. Thank you.
That's all very exciting news today from you, Wes. That's, well, that's 4 right there. We got the toddler park, we got the fire station back open, and, we got the library, and then now the pep rally. That's,
Yeah, we have, I think the police department's coming up next. We'll be working on the, police department next, doing some upgrades.
that's exciting stuff. All right, up next is Transportation Committee Report. Councilman Duval.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Got 2 items on the agenda. I'm gonna start with the, I'm gonna call it, let's see what we said here, Publix red light, which is just, I meant to bring this up at the retreat, but then it just ran out of time, but, we've talked about this, it's been talked about for years. We've worked around, we gathered some facts and type of stuff, and then we've tried to respond to DOT, and, DOT's a big organization. Things did get a little bit kind of, stuck there, but we were trying to get it unstuck. And, there's different types of projects that DOT does. I mean, of course, in my field, bridge replacements are the type of projects, and you have, widening projects like we have in 20. But this was proposed by GDOT as a safety project. Which is, it's got its own pot of money. It's a federal funded program, typically handled out of what they call the TMC, the Transportation Management Centers, the building, but it's really the operations section that does it. And that's where we submitted a lot of stuff, but we really come to find out that it really needs to be programmed through the district. And the district's we've talked to them, I know Danny's talked to them over time. I've had some conversations with them as well. But we can move forward. We can, if we move forward with this, the idea is GDOT will program it. They're gonna program, we were looking at doing, the engineering, but GDOT was looking at doing the construction, or most of the construction, or all the construction costs, which is always the biggest pot of money, right? But it's a lot of money on our part too. I mean, when we talk about our nickel. The good thing about it is we try to keep things within, the idea is try to keep things within the existing right of way, and it runs from, Logan Drive back to CS Point. And so, but just, we've talked about it a little bit, and wanted to make sure, to see what you all thought as far as, is this, are we as a group going to support this? Because what happens is, they're going to take that 2-way left turn lane that runs down the middle, and they're gonna convert that into, strips of, still be turn lanes, but there'll be strips of concrete median that restricts the flow. Well, it sounds bad, but what happens is it makes it safer, because people aren't sitting there trying to turn out and cross traffic. They're forced to go to the red light, just like they're forced to do the red, well, not forced to do the red light, but, up at, Home Depot, but they have the option to, but they can still do the right outs, but they can't turn left. So, you know, some people are opposed to that type of thing. It's not like an old, it's not like it's gonna be a concrete median the whole way. If you looked at your drawings, there's turn lanes, and there's these strips of median. And that's what they call it. It's a safety project. So it's a safety first, but then it's a traffic, I mean, it's a traffic improvement. Obviously, with the signal itself, it's an improvement. But also, if you don't have people waiting to turn left, and they do what you should do. I mean, you know, you turn right and go down and turn around, traffic flows better. So I don't think it's a detriment. I think it's totally positive. But what I want to make sure before we try to go any further, I mean, the district's asked a couple times now. They've said, hey, we want to get this thing and get some traction and move this, but I don't want to do it without, this council's not going to support it.
Let me ask you a question, Bill.
Yep.
Because I know that it was a big, long thing here, and we're all looking at them attached. All these white spaces on all these, that's where there's, I'm gonna call it, for a lack of a better word, a divided median.
That's concrete, yeah.
Okay, so it's not a, like you said, a continuous one, because we look at Memorial Drive, as soon as they divided it, it killed the entire community up there, and it changed the whole look of Memorial Drive. So there's still businesses that people can come in and out of.
Correct.
It's just where, and you know, you try to look at this, so this is 78, and I'm assuming that's Chili's, so it would be from, say, like right where Chili's is, and it would go all the way back to what is that?
So start at Home Depot and come all the way down.
But not one continuous piece, right? Or is it a
No,
continuous?
it's concrete.
This is
actually
conceptual
right there.
now.
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
I know, but.
Yeah, GDOT has not weighed on this, this
Oh,
is just
okay.
our engineer.
Right, but they could go back and say that the whole thing has to be a divided median. I mean, this is just who drew this up, Keck Wood? So like you said, when GDOT gets here, they might go, yeah, no, this isn't gonna work unless we completely divide the highway. So like, how much money have we not already, we've approved this, I know we voted for it, we've moved forward. How much money has the city already put into this?
I wanna say it's over 100,000 plus. They're requesting another study in January.
And what would that cost?
Another study.
Another traffic,
Yeah,
part of
we'd have to
another
do
traffic
another
study, due to the age of the other studies. I mean, the last study we did, don't hold me to this exact number, but I wanna say it was around 35 to 40,000.
Okay.
We did a proposal, Kevin did a proposal for the construction administration, that was for the project, to administer the project, to bid the project, it was 780,000 just for that. But the traffic study, I think, was probably another 30 to 40,000.
I mean, you look at Kroger, they put a red light there, and there's still accidents there almost every day. And this being another grocery store, yes, it's a bad area. I would like to see the numbers on the number of wrecks there compared to the number of wrecks at Kroger.
Why do we need a concrete divider, a left turn, the little triangle thing so you can only turn left, and a red light? Do we need all three?
Yes.
Yes?
Well, this is considered a safety project. The way the state will fund is if they
If we do all three.
Yeah, so you only make right ins and right outs and then turn left at the control point, which will be the red light.
And that's
That's the concept, is it's safety.
it is, it's a safety project, which again, tries to keep it within right of way. So that saves cost, right? We wanna work within that boundary. If we weren't doing the safety project, it's probably not gonna be done, because, you know, the intersection itself, we're not gonna pay for, and GDOT's not gonna approve it, it's their highway. But, I mean, you know, so it's just, do we wanna try to move forward and?
I mean, sell me the project, so we're already $100 and something thousand in, how much more money? Right, how much more are we in? Are you telling me GDOT, if we jump through all their hoops, they're gonna pay for everything, or we still hold a?
2 million?
I believe what Kecken told me was most the state would pay would be $2 million.
And we don't have any idea what this project would cost without doing that study, or what?
Conceptual was 2.5, maybe a little bit more, but that was, again, this was
Years ago.
6 years ago, yeah. I mean, I think the city started on this in 2014.
Yeah, it's been a
I
long
found that
time.
from Bill's files, but yeah, it's 2021, 22, 23 is where we were hot and heavy, and then it just kind of, they had people at the state that went to different departments and then kind of got overlooked, and they contacted me in January. I said, I'm not doing any more studies until I have a letter from the state saying we're moving forward, and they just.
Were we able to procure that land that we needed where Chili's is, or is that something else?
Yeah, we had a verbal from him, but we definitely didn't accept anything until we know we're gonna do this project. He
So
verbally gave us that he would, all that's been done, we surveyed the road, we cored the road, it meets specs. Jeff and I talked to Mr. Patel, they, of course, they wanted, their only request was to put a sign, but at the time, there's not enough right of way, and the state wouldn't allow them, and they know this, but, you gotta have that road in order to do this red light, because you cannot shift traffic onto a private road. So, last time we talked was, I wanna say, March maybe with Mr. Patel, and they were in agreement.
And the concrete walls coming from Home Depot to where?
So,
The
basically,
public
it's
house.
C.S. Floyd.
Is it going, C.S. Floyd,
This
okay.
Cal,
You want me to go up?
go to slide number 340, or the third slide. Going to the bottom.
Home Depot or the other end?
Okay, it starts there, you see the cemetery at Broad Street, it starts there, and continues north, or continues west. Go to the next slide, that's the next one, and then you have the intersection of Publix, Chili's. That concrete median will go to, depends on how we do it, how the state allows it. I've seen one where it goes pretty much up to that red light, so there will be no left turns into Zaxby's, Taco Bell, Wendy's. You had to go to the red light. They can come out right, you can't turn left. And then it continues, it picks back up above Chick-fil-A there, and goes to Logan Drive. And then that's the current red light there, top of the screen.
And the other thing too is this type of projects, obviously, way quicker than.
It's what, Bill, I can't hear you.
This type of project's way quicker than doing like a regular,
Highway 20.
I wouldn't say that. But I mean, if you were to program I don't want to say, the typical projects take years to do. This is not gonna be, it's still gonna take, probably a couple of years to fully develop. But that's
Fully
quicker.
developed, you mean on paper,
Get to construction
in a few years?
I would think. And you have to get
I
it.
think this is a safety project, so they move a little fast.
Yeah, that's correct.
What options do we have? None? I mean, is there something the city can do in and of
Yeah,
itself?
the city, this is a state right of way, state road.
Yeah.
We've all heard, why don't we have a public red light? Well,
Yeah.
this is what we request, this is what it would take for the state to get a public red light. If you say no to this, then you have no red light.
No red light.
That's it. But also, what we're doing and the help that we're doing by doing the engineering part is, that's helping GDOT make the decision of support that supports. And that's a big.
With us doing the engineering and us showing where the concrete dividers and stuff kinda could be, that would keep them from wanting to come in and say, no, we're just doing concrete dividers all the way down.
Well, let me ask you, Bill, so if we spend the $40,000 for the study again, now I forgot my question, Brandon, hang on a minute.
I wanna get that out before I get out of my head too.
Okay, so if we spend the $30,000 or $40,000, I don't think this was my question, but we'll go with this. And we find out that the project is now $4 million, and the state's only paying $2 million, so we're gonna be paying for everything we've already paid for, and then we would have to come up with the balance of that money, correct? Cause they're not gonna pay any more than $2 million. I'm just asking, is that what you're telling me right now?
That's,
That's how we've been explained to us, yes.
Okay.
Sure.
But we
Construction
have
costs.
no idea. What-
Yes. Originally, okay, so this came out of the safety audit in 2019. This was their number one project. At the time, it was 1.5 million for construction, administration, and design. And then, since then, it says, the state said, we'll pay for construction up to 2 million.
Okay.
The city's responsible for the conceptual, for the design, and for the administration, bidding, all that. All they're gonna pay is towards the construction, so that your red light, of course, if there's any right-of-way acquisition, it automatically kills it. That's why it was imperative that Mr. Patel would give us land instead of the state buying it, because they would not, requiring right-of-way is not part of the safety program, so it has to be no right-of-way, so we got that hurdle out of the way. So now, last time I talked, was end of last year, it was $2 million max. Now, I'm sure there's some negotiation with the state. Worst case, they're gonna say no, but we don't know what this cost is gonna be. We originally talked with the state when they did Highway 20, if they ever did it, it'd be great to do this at the same time, because traffic's already messed up. They said no, so here we are.
Are any of our grants, or can we apply for grants? I don't know what the LMIG covers, but is there any type, something like that, the CD?
No.
What, any of those things, you know, all those initials, yeah, all that stuff? Is there not
I don't
anything?
think there's not, I'm not sure, but I know CDBG cannot, LMIG cannot. This is actually,
I mean, we get asked, I think we all get asked all the time about the red light
Oh,
there.
it's-
But I don't know if the public's aware that you ain't turning into
Well,
chilies, I mean,
The
into,
rules just changed,
Right.
so.
right, that's what I'm saying.
When was the last time you got the 2 million? Is that several years ago? Is that what you're
No,
talking about?
the last conversation, I wanna say, was November, December, of last year. And
Okay.
then the state contacted me probably in January, wanna know, still had interest, why was it moving? I told our engineer at the time, I'm not spending any more money, because in my opinion, we spent a lot of money on studies that didn't get nowhere. I said I wasn't doing anything until they signed a project number saying that they support this, so I can come back to y'all and say, they're supporting this, here we go, let's move forward. Then I would ask for more money. Since then, I've probably talked to District 1, maybe what, 2 months ago, Bill?
Yeah.
About this. This is something they wanna move forward with, but, I've been very candid with them with my frustration, as we've been doing this for 5 years, 6 years, and still, we're here.
What is Publix willing to contribute? I know at the time they said, well, we'll rework our parking lot, but can we,
That's the discussion we can have with them, but, you know, I believe they've had different owners now, so they did contribute, I believe, I wanna say it was 15,000 for that 30,000 study we did. I think we've done 3 since then. Public's paid half of 1. So, and they're willing to change. If you see that picture there, they gotta put a road between their parking lot to connect from the back of Wendy's, Taco Bell, Zaxby's, to go across the parking lot back to the red light, Chick-fil-A, and come back out for those that wish to go left or towards Gwinnett County.
But that would be on them.
That would be on them, yes.
Yeah.
It would be, we just had, we showed it what it would look like on the conceptual.
Danny, what about the businesses that would be affected by this concrete median? Do they know anything about this? We talked to them?
No.
We waited, we got asked their opinions?
I've talked to a couple. Chili's would very like a traffic light here. Their general manager there says there's people that avoid us because they don't want to have to take a left to get out of here. And they're actually, you can go the back way and actually go to a light. And same thing with, Your Pie. They say they have been affected because people don't want to take a left out of there. And they're really excited about what's going on the other end when it comes to realigning when it comes to autonomy forward, because that would ease their fears a little bit, but they're also concerned about, you know, people just drive by and I've already tried to take a left out of here once and said that's enough. Like, people already avoid it because they can't get out of there. So, if we give people a safe way to get out of businesses, it's only gonna be good for the businesses, in my mind. I mean, this is two things. The businesses are gonna need the help with this because they're already getting business not coming because they can't take a left out. And number two, how many wrecks, how many people want to take a left out of there and they just floor it and pray. That's how you have to get out of there. Unless you're going at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I don't want anyone's deaths on my hands. I don't want anybody else complaining. I mean, I know we've all gotten complaints, but getting complaints about, oh, well, because I take a left out of there, my car got totaled and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's wanted by the two businesses that I've talked to about it, because they actually just talk to me, because I go there frequently about it. I haven't reached out to all the other ones, but they seem to be in favor of doing a traffic solution there so people can take a left. And I even mentioned to them, well, it might, you know, have a median involved. They're like, as long as I have the left turn in and out, or, you know, then we'll be okay. So, but take that for what you will. That was two businesses out of there, not all of them. But I just,
At least to answer your question, I talked to the owner of the property, not directly Publix, which is the main building of Publix. So that's the company that we dealt with. I'm not sure if they talked to the other suites, but I do know they talked to Publix directly.
The only concern I have is in front of the Christian church and that office building next door to them. It's gonna block them off completely from having anybody turn left off to 78 in there. And especially for that church with the elderly that are in there, I don't know what that's gonna do to that church. And
Then
also,
let's put them in like a little island there.
that's what I'm wondering, if there's any way that a concession could be made there for them. And then also with the possible widening of the 20 interchange there at 78, how or if will this affect that?
It'll stop before that. It'll tie to it.
Sure.
I didn't hear what you said. What was the answer?
It'll tie to it. I mean, that'll be in the consideration when they, in the project.
Because I've seen that the office building is taking down their ground signs that they had for a while. It's already been gone a while, so I wasn't sure how much of their parking lot or right of way is gonna be taken there.
No right away will be taken.
No?
We're staying in existing right away.
Oh, okay, awesome, thank you.
So do you think we can get maybe Publix to, assist with this, since they get a majority of the business in that location again, with the study, or what?
Well, and I know, Wes, I know that both Melanie and I have talked to representatives from Publix, and they wanna do something. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a concern to them.
From just riding through myself, I know that we've had a lot of accidents that has occurred there, and I don't wanna see any more accidents there. If we can prevent accidents, what is the other alternative if we took and cut up where Journey's Inn is and joined it to the Walmart? It's a no-go.
And we've
Okay.
up to them, and they have no issues with Walmart. It's not.
Thank you.
That was done during our KCI study,
Yeah.
interpartial connectivity, and they have zero issues.
Anything that we can provide for our taxpayers or people commuting through our city to prevent accidents, I'm for that. But if we can get assistance, that would
I
sweeten
think
the pot.
with Publix, they would wanna see a commitment from the city, and then, we would have to present them with proposal and ask them what they would contribute. That's what we did with the last study.
Yeah.
But we had an exact number, but just have to call them up and say, we contribute, they wanna see
I
something.
I understand.
But we can definitely, if y'all tell me to move forward, we'll start with the next, if anything, I would request assistance for the, construction administration, with $700,000 plus, not with just the, crash study.
Run that by me again.
So, to engineer this project, to oversee this project, do the construction administration, the bidding, turnkey project, last time we checked with Keckle, they proposed $787,000 for this project.
The city's portion.
The city's cost, yes. So that was a deal, that's what the state says, y'all pay for engineering, we'll pay for construction. So the engineering was the $780,000 that we have not paid. That's to actually design it. This is just a conceptual drawing. To design it, to bid it, and to oversee that project till it's done. And then that was $787,000.
And that was how many years ago? Or that was, when did you?
24, I think, 2000.
So that's probably gone up.
Maybe a little bit, but not much. I don't think it went that much. Now,
So if we
it
waited,
may went a little bit.
if we waited 2 more years to bid this, what would be your projection that it would cost us in 2 more years to do it?
Yeah, you do.
I know it's gonna keep going up.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what construction costs. I mean, again, originally, 6 years ago, it was 1.5, now it's probably 2.5.
Sure. So things are gonna keep going up if we don't address issues as we all
They are, but you're affecting a lot of businesses, and I understand Brandon's point, but you've got a lot of businesses that, I'll be honest with you, I ain't gonna eat there if I can't turn there.
I would wanna hear from the office building of
would
the
wanna hear,
church,
yeah.
cause it looks like there's no good way to get to the office building of the church if you gotta turn left. You've got to go all, am I right, go all the way up to the new.
So there again, this is conceptual, so there's a lot of engineering that gets there, it works through all these.
Right, so we're spending three quarters of $1 million to get the feedback, so we're
Sure.
just looking at a
Sure.
conception right
Yeah, I
now.
mean, let's say you would have to go around the town green area, come
And
in
that
back
may be the
here,
case.
or go all the way up in there, turn around, come out, and there's,
So, yeah.
I'd like to hear from those, the churches and businesses.
Well, and I'd like to hear from the property owners and the property owners that will be affected directly. Before the city goes and spends $750,000 to draw some plans, and then
Would that be our total cost? We gotta pay for something
So
else.
y'all kind of combining two different things. So if you go to property owners, you're gonna take a conceptual drawing.
Right,
You're not gonna do the full design
Right.
until y'all have said, yes, move forward.
but we can tell them this is a conceptual drawing,
Yes,
it
I
may
would-
change,
I
but
would
based
take
on
this drawing
this.
now and say, if y'all wanna talk to business owners, say, this is the conceptual drawing. Send it to the state. The state's gonna say, yes, this is, the state can make comments on this conceptual drawing.
Mhm.
That's a lot less than the $780,000 is a turnkey number to do this project. So that would come way down after this next study we do. It's come another year or so probably.
And that would be it, 787, or if it
Whatever
goes
that
over.
number is, yeah.
Whatever.
Okay, no, I mean, within reason, if that would be, I mean, we're not gonna have to pick up
And
the
I don't-
excess costs.
I don't know if the state has the funding still for this. I mean, I do know that they called us this year and said, if y'all have desire, and I said, Bill, talk to the council, let me know what you want me to do.
Yep.
And that's where we are tonight.
Okay.
Cause I don't wanna keep spending money or keep coming back with
Right.
proposals, if y'all have no desire to do this. If you have no desire to say, hey, it's too much, just wanna get our businesses, then we say no thank you. Now, if the state wants to do it, they have that right without coming to us, they pay full price.
But we probably wouldn't be able to have as much say in it, so they could put in all whatever they want.
That's correct.
And not
Their road.
worry about our
I- I
businesses
don't
like we do.
think the state would be that.
Do you envision though, this is what I'm envisioning, once they get some part of a concrete wall going down 78, will it extend in both directions at some point in time? Because I would think that's where it would be headed.
I don't think without a control access to turn left, I think they would have to put more red lights. Now, could they?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But again, y'all, they don't have to ask permission from nobody, it's their road.
Yeah, they could go down 78 and do the whole thing anytime they want.
I just don't think.
Yeah, just like Snell.
Yeah, but we know it won't be anytime soon.
Well, we hope.
Yes.
That will definitely not be anytime soon.
Yeah,
This is
well,
our,
it
this is
is,
our opportunity to.
Just don't disturb my grave.
Bill,
No.
Bill,
That's
do you
all I
mind if we think about this for
Yeah, I don't-
30 days and
Yeah.
kinda?
Yeah, oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
ponder
yeah,
upon
definitely. This isn't
things
a
and maybe
one
we'll
night
come back up
decision,
to it.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I think we all agree we want the red light, but all of this is coming in, I find it very challenging just to drive through Snellville, and I was around, I remember Memorial Drive when that happened.
Mhm.
And it absolutely killed those businesses.
Mhm.
I mean, it went dead like.
Yeah.
And I think we wanna do that.
So no consent.
Yes.
No, I'm through with that.
All right,
Thank you, Bill.
appreciate the feedback.
Do you really?
No, it's a safety project, it's gonna improve traffic for everybody. There are gonna be people impacted, the greater whole's not. But if the council says no, then every time we say no, it pushes it out another year.
Just give us 30 days to think about it.
Sure, sure.
Did we have these drawings and I did not see them? These
They're in the
drawings.
packet.
They are? I didn't see them, okay.
317 is what
Okay.
Page 3, 39, 41, and 40, 40, 41, and 39, 40, and 41.
Okay, thanks.
Debbie, I may end up doing a work session with you if Bill wants to do one as well, or any of the other council, to kind of get more familiarized with what the vision is and everything. So maybe over the next 30 days, if we could maybe do like a little preliminary work session with each other and kind of go over things. And I want to lay eyes on the project, and versus looking at a sheet of paper, I want to put my eyes on everything. So Bill, if you're interested, I would
And I want
love
some
to do
feedback
that
from
with
the
you.
businesses.
You know, and any of the other council as well.
Who's gonna speak to the businesses?
No,
Council?
we're
No,
just-
Lisa said she wants to hear from them. Somebody to reach out to those businesses.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
We're just looking at it, just to kind of get a visual over the next
I
30
guess
days.
it's Danny or Bill
Okay.
Or Jeff.
or Jeff.
I think he's saying we'll start with y'all first, and
Yeah.
then go to the businesses.
Okay.
And then go
Fine.
I wanna get
Okay.
kind of see what
Well,
everything
yeah.
looks like, and, I mean, we can look at this paper, but I wanna physically see the layout of everything.
You're gonna have to build a model, Bill, I think.
I'll be reaching out to you.
No, I think Wes is saying we're gonna put on our tennis shoes and go out there and walk up and down the side
Wes
of
is
the road.
gonna do that, he can get back to us.
We can do it from a distance.
He can
you know,
take a
safely.
video, yeah.
All right, moving on. So the second item on my list is to discuss the ordinance change for the traffic calming devices. Melanie brought this up.
I did, I brought it up last month, before I got on council, I fought with this issue, and for the last 5 years I've been on council, I've brought this up multiple times, and then last month, we all agreed to move forward with doing something about the growing lack of safety, in our downtown corridor area, with all of our little side streets. We have a medical facility coming on board that's projected to put 1,200 to 1,600 more cars a day on Covington Street. The accidents are happening. I had a call from a citizen that lives on Fair Street, right there at C.S. Floyd. He was T-boned at that stop sign when a lady didn't stop. He says, he called me, he said, I'm sitting on my porch right now, and nobody's stopping at the stop sign, and the people speeding. He jokingly said, I'm gonna get me a baby buggy and put it on a rope, and when people come speeding down through here, I'm gonna roll it out in front of them. I said, well, don't do that, because I already threatened to sit out here with a paintball gun and mark all the cars that don't stop and that are speeding. But it's time. Our downtown area has become a major cut through on all the surface streets in our downtown area. You've got Line Street projects gonna be coming on, that's adding people. We've got a lot of projects coming on that are gonna just continuously add to people. Our streets are too narrow. Nobody's obeying the law. And the ordinance is very far out of date, because you can go to any city in our county. We are the only city without traffic calming devices. So I think that I would hope that council could support this, and let's maybe give Paul whatever we wanna call it, that maybe he would have us something back to look at updating our traffic calming ordinance. Maybe he could have that ready for us for the September meeting. We could digest that, make changes, and vote on it in October. I think any side street, any surface street in the downtown area, if the majority of those residents would like their streets to have a little more calming, I think everybody should be entitled to that. We had a citizen that went and got 100% support for traffic calming devices on one street. and I've got a citizen working on another street, getting his petition ready. The people are tired, it's a cut through, it's not safe, and nothing's being done about it. And it's just time, it's just another thing it's time, just like the safety of 78 at Publix. You gotta have the people downtown that live downtown being protected on these tiny roads that aren't wide enough for 2 trucks to pass with their mirrors out. So I'm just gonna ask my fellow council members, if y'all would once again, you supported me last month, if you would support me in having Paul maybe move forward with writing an updated ordinance that would allow us to do
Make
this.
everybody qualify.
That everybody
Our
qualifies.
ordinance right now, though, I mean, just so everybody's clear, our ordinance says, hey, this citizens that live on have a property, they have to, 75% have to agree to.
Well, we're gonna do away with that because the city has created the problem by allowing overgrowth, uncontrolled overgrowth, that's allowed the cutting through the unsafe conditions. So I think this is something that the city would actually pay. I was reading something yesterday, and the comment said, I bet your city spent millions of dollars on cameras this year and not anything on potholes. And we do, if we look at the things we spend our money on, cameras is a great example, but we're not taking care of the citizens, the taxpayers. This is something that taxpayers could see an immediate, this is where my tax dollars went. I pay my taxes, I live here, I'm entitled to safety, but yet they don't see anything done. You know, we do studies, we do this, we build this, we do that, we spend money for this, we spend money for that, and for 5 years, I've been having citizens ask me, as a elected official, to please help us do something, and that's what I'm asking for, and I think the city should also pay the cost of it.
You would still want a petition.
Sure,
that
we can, yes,
neighborhood.
yeah, because you might have only
I think
one
they'll
person on a
listen.
street that wants.
Well, that's what the ordinance says.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, but it
Sure.
says in there too, which is outdated, that the city wants the citizens that live on that street to pay 50% of the cost. I'm not for that.
Sure,
I'm not-
well, that's, okay.
So let me ask Paul real quick if I could. Our ordinance, is it based on just what the city has put out, or is this based on state law?
So I went and looked at this ordinance. It was drafted and passed back in 2017. It appears that, I can't answer that because I wasn't here in 2017, but it appears it was drafted in conjunction with the assistance from probably our city engineer at the time, because it references some of the standard traffic metrics and 85th percentiles from speed studies or traffic studies that you use. So it doesn't point, there's no specific state law as to traffic calming devices. There's certainly lots of best practices, manuals on how to implement them and what are appropriate ones. So the question for you, Councilmember Long, would be, sort of what are the changes that you want to this? Because it sort of already envisions certain specifics about making sure we're doing it right? So what you don't want to do is put in speed humps that aren't best practices, and then all of a sudden we've got mufflers and whatnot falling out, and people complaining to the city that we've got a problem with that. So, making sure they're engineered, designed, and built properly. So if you want to give my office some guidance on what the changes to this ordinance are, I'm happy to make any of those changes that you want. I will suggest that before we go to passing anything, that we get with the city engineer, whether that be Kickenwood or PPI, whichever we use for traffic, and let them look at it and say grace over it, so that we're not passing something that just doesn't make sense from a traffic standards perspective. Because there are scientific metrics to this that are going to be beyond my pay grade.
Correct.
That we want to make sure that we're following.
And
Jeff-
if we do this, then it's gonna be opening the door to just about any and every street here wanting these things, and it's gonna be at the cost of the city. So where's the tax saving for the citizen if we go through something like this?
Yeah, and that's the reason why I'm asking the question is, what are the changes? Because I've read through the petition process and the analysis, the speed standpoint. Is it just a change to the cost share, or are there other changes to the ordinance as
Well,
it sits now?
for 5 years, I've been told that the streets that the citizens are wanting don't qualify, so I guess we need to find out.
That's where y'all, that's where it is.
You talking about the speed thing? Well, Jeff gave me this, and I know you said there's a glitch in the radar system. So are we gonna get some accurate data? And then also too, where are we at with changing the, speed limit on that street, so we can get back and get more accurate data? And then you did tell me, I believe, that y'all were meeting with one of the engineers, and you said that you would bring up this you would generally bring this up. Did you have any discussions about that?
Yes, ma'am, I've got a good bit of information I can share on that. I didn't know if you wanted to finish the discussion on the traffic calming devices
I
first
think it's,
before we
okay,
do
we
the
can do that, yeah.
speed limit.
What you were gonna talk to the engineer, I thought that was about the traffic calming devices, was that not?
No, ma'am, that was just about changing the speed limit.
Okay.
So again, making these changes, they definitely need to incorporate information and guidance from the city engineer to address these actual standards that we need to be following. And, you know, the one issue from what I just heard, I don't have any familiarity with it, but if the studies show, right, this is the problem you're running into, if the standards say that traffic calming devices are called for under these parameters, these metrics, and if our studies show that traffic calming devices are not called for under those standardized metrics, then y'all are going to be making decisions, putting traffic calming devices that aren't standardized, right, that aren't following the metrics of these traffic manuals that again are beyond my pay grade. There's certain physics to it that I don't understand, so I just wanna make sure that I understand what you want us to make the changes in the ordinance to. Is it to the 85th percentile? Is it to just the cost sharing? Is it to the to the gatekeeper limit of a 75% petition of property owners on the street? You know, what are these changes that you want? We'll be happy to make any of those. And I'm also happy to go out and look at what other cities do on traffic calming. I know that there are these petition type ordinances in a lot of cities. I'm not familiar with it as much, but we'll go out and find sort of what the standard norm is in other cities as well. But we just need a little bit of guidance, because it appears it's been on the book for some time, and I guess the issue is that
I think it's antiquated.
Okay.
I think it's antiquated, it's not being used, and it's not being, I think it was written in such a way that we can always have an excuse not to do it. Okay, because look at up down Monroe, look how many y'all have traffic calming devices. You have the islands, you have humps, you have a little bit of everything. So it's, and the roads that I'm talking about, you can stand on one end of the road and you can literally see the stop sign at the other end of the road, but then also go to Walnut Road and go down Park Street where they're every how many feet, and the road does this. So our ordinance is antiquated. Now if the solution is to talk to an engineer and find out, let them come out and look at our roads and see, and then we adjust the ordinance appropriately, I'm fine with that. But what I'm saying is 5 years, citizens have been begging for some changes, and it is time to move on and get those changes and get what we need to do in place.
And just, you know, speaking up here a little bit on Monroe, we don't really have a traffic calming ordinance like this. Those are just city directed or city mandated efforts where speeds are being determined, and it may come from customer or citizen complaints. Hey, the speed here is not a problem, speed's not a problem. Traffic study is ordered, it identifies that maybe there's one needed, and then part of the CIP funding is identified, hey, we should put some money towards this. I've been familiar with and involved in a lot of those, and not every one of those are citizen welcome. I just want to throw that out there.
Correct.
Traffic calming
I got you.
devices,
It's a touchy subject.
There are very much folks on both sides of the aisle when it comes to traffic calming
Well,
devices.
the citizens that have reached out to me, them and their neighbors are all in favor. And I'm saying, you don't have to put them on every, but if they want them, I think they should be allowed to have them.
So if we can't, get that, Jeff or either Danny, what assistance can we go with our police department to be able to maybe create a zone for a police officer throughout their shift? I know that they're busy on calls, I get that, but I do. But is there any other way that we could possibly try to bring in or create something to help with these issues? To help our police chief in his operations?
You're talking about work shift, and I don't know how many calls he answered, but, more officers. To say that one officer just sits, that's not gonna happen, they can't just sit.
No,
They have to answer calls, if they rotate calls. I believe they've had, what, 25,000 calls for services last year? Over 30,000, so you just divide it by 365, that tells you how many calls are answering for RX and all that stuff. So it's really, the easiest thing is to put something permanent. I just want to clarify, this is not staff saying no, this is staff saying no because the policy is put in place by council.
Correct.
Because we gotta have something in place, because you don't, you want every single person asking for speed humps on the street.
So what if we created a traffic unit that's what their specific job is to work traffic, not calls, work traffic?
Yeah, we discussed that, Chief and I discussed having a traffic unit, something we looked at, and again, he or she's still a police officer, if a call comes out, they're still gonna respond to that call, versus pulling somebody's speed or not running stop sign, those take, like parties. If you're on priority 3 and you get a cardiac arrest, you're gonna jump this call to get this call, it's just, I think best way to control traffic is maybe do something like what we have here, maybe we just modify this. But I think you're gonna still be hard pressed to meet roads that don't have that speed issue that we think they do.
But that was also something that it's
I
in
think-
the ordinance.
I think this is required to the state, I'm not sure, but I think that was done.
I don't know.
Oh, I
don't know
think
the
there's
answer.
something tied to the 85 percentile in the site, I don't know, but that's
Yeah.
something the engineer can tell us.
I think there's engineering standards.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but
85th percentile.
I'd like to just,
I
let's
think
move
what we do
forward
is
with
say,
this.
what's the minimum we can do, but
Mhm.
still be safe to do traffic calming devices?
Correct.
And then we come back to y'all and say, hey, this is what we have to do, now y'all decide on the money and stuff like that.
Correct.
And I was gonna ask the money, so how do we fund something like that? Is this something that we get all this homework done, the changes made, and then do we need to wait until the next budget cycle, put this in the next year's budget, or is it something we can?
I mean, again, it's coming out of general fund, so you can earmark money all day long for projects, but if you have something comes up, you can get pulled, sort of like paving. Y'all all said, hey, we wanna spend more money, last year you said, hey, we wanna spend 200,000 sidewalks. That's something where we would say, hey, we wanna see, 10,000 put towards speed tables. Something y'all can decide.
And then, so that's one thing. Are y'all okay with moving forward on that, at least
Yes.
finding out where we're
So
at?
we get engineer report?
Yes.
Yeah, I will say nobody has been denied on the money issue, hasn't even made that far, because the first step is the radar, and nobody has met that.
But, and also, I also don't wanna just focus on speed tables.
Well, I don't sense we did, I mean, traffic is license, however.
Exactly, yeah.
Whatever we can come up with.
Correct.
Yeah, cause there's a lot more aesthetically pleasing, and they might cost a little bit
Right.
more, a little bit more for
Well, I mean, I have a
upkeep and
citizen,
maintenance.
yeah, that's
but-
asking about speed dips. Is that something an engineer could look into and do? And I think that's a lot more cost effective.
I think one thing to see, just generally speaking, right, is sort of almost internally, and you really should get your streets focused in this conversation, not these guys who don't run
Right.
streets. But, the speed humps, those are the cheap and the easy. and
Yeah,
the
we don't
quick
want
ones
those.
that everybody hates.
Right.
But they're the ones that get used because they're the lowest cost. When you get into the gores, they have a term, I can't remember, when you get into the gores, separated gores and little islands, when you get into the speed tables, the costs are not insignificant. Because they have to be built and installed at such standards, they have to account for stormwater because they block drainage. I mean, they're not cheap. So when you're talking about a cost share with citizens on the street, even if you change this number from 50-50 to some other number, if it had some participation, just understand those can be numbers that folks be like, not interested.
Well, that's why they're there, so as to drive people away from getting their neighborhood safe. But, you said, Jeff, that there was a glitch in the radar. Have we gotten that? Cause I'm sure people aren't going 48,000 miles an hour.
Okay, so, as we were discussing, the request to reduce the speed limit on Covington Street, one of the first things we have to do is the traffic engineering study. Since we have the radar sign on Covington Street that has the display sign, we first pulled the data from it to see if it could be used. We'd rather use data that we can collect ourselves and give to an engineer rather than pay an engineer to collect the data. The data that came from that sign, there was a lot of trash in that data. It basically was unusable. We have another portable method to collect data. We've gone through the first phase. We're going to do 2 phases of data collection with it to send to the engineers to do the study. The data that's coming off of it looks good. I've preliminarily looked at it myself. It's been sent to the engineers to make sure that it's going to be usable by them. If they say that they can use that, then we're going to engage them to do the study. That has to be done. Cities certainly have the right to change the speed limits on city streets. However, if you do it outside of the traffic study, then you can't enforce it because they won't give you a permit for it. So you've done nothing. So that's where we're at with that. Like I said, we're going to do the second round of data collection this coming up week and weekend. We'll get all that to the engineer. Sir?
So don't tell us when, because they're all gonna go.
Yeah, then they're gonna go slow, or Melanie's gonna sit out there and run 75 miles an hour up and down from the regular.
So, once that's done, we'll bring that before council. Council can vote to change that speed zone, and that has to go to the state. The state has to approve it for the speed detection device permit for the police department. But we're in process of gathering that data and trying to get that done in the most cost-effective means method.
Okay, let me ask you another question, because you probably can't answer this. Do you know when the speed limit, because when I moved in that house 30 years ago, the speed limit was 25 and now it's magically gone up. Do you know when it went from 25 to, there's no way, there's nothing in our records in the city that shows?
I haven't looked for it. I'm trying to think of where I would even find it. You may be able to find it by pouring through old Department of Public Safety radar permits, things like that, because those all have to be programmed by the state and approved.
Thank you.
Now, when it comes to police and fire and rescue calls and stuff going down with all these devices, I know you, police officer, does that affect their ability to get to and from people?
It adds 6 seconds per speed hump.
Or 6 per?
For a fully loaded, fire thing. That is what the transportation, study that I did, I left my notebook at home where I've been researching this for years. So for a fire truck to go over 3, it adds 18 seconds to their ride.
It's, just from my own personal history, it's not an impediment as far as responding. In my opinion, we had where I policed, we had a neighborhood that had these speed humps.
Yeah.
The concrete steep that if you had an emergency call in there to rattle filling out your teeth, and you'd have to do work on the suspension after every call. The devices that are being used today don't have those same issues. And I certainly don't want to speak for Chief Lowry, but if there was an emergency, I never let him slow me down.
Yeah.
What about you, Tim? Do you have an opinion on your fire trucks?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, they even.
Okay, sir.
Patty, they even make one where they actually do the cutouts for the wheels so that you can, the fire trucks, because their width is larger, so your average car couldn't go through it, but a fire truck could go through it. There's all kinds of things. The engineer would tell that, but what I saw overall is it adds no substantial, delay in a response time.
Yeah, and if you'll remember on the north side, there was a reason why we decided not to ask them to put speed humps in their parking lot. So I'd like to be mindful of that as they're coming out of north side onto Covington, that there's a clear path, there's no speed bumps going back to Main Street.
Say again?
I'd like to ask us to consider north side, if you're coming out of north side onto Covington, that there's no speed bumps between north side and Main Street.
Well, that would defeat the purpose, so they can go out on 78.
Not necessarily.
Well, we can discuss that later.
What is your reason
discuss
for
that.
that, Lisa?
Because if you're coming out of that medical building, this is what we talked about, not having speed bumps in the parking lot. If you're going there, you just had surgery, and you're coming out of that parking lot, you've got to navigate speed humps. I just think that we need to consider that. It's not a whole lot of, roadway there to
Right.
Main Street.
Okay.
But that's,
I'm not
but
saying
that's
go all the way
78.
down.
But that's what 78 is for.
But if you didn't put them there, where else on Covington? You were melting.
I'm not saying do or don't, I'm just saying let's consider it. Let's
We
think
can
about it.
consider it.
Do you have enough to go with, Paul, or do you want us to actually name some things?
I think that
Yeah,
I'll work with Danny and with
Yeah.
Jeff and the city engineer and come back to you with some thoughts. What I think I heard was, let's check all these sort of, what I call technical metrics, and make sure they're standardized. And then y'all's focus, or Mrs. Long's focus, is maybe on the cost approach and how you address the cost issues. But we'll work with staff and see
Okay.
and come back to you with next month. We may not have everything because there may be more questions that you'll need to dig into.
Okay.
Even if it's just an update, that'd be great.
Right. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, council.
Anything else, Bill? That's it. All right, now we have the city manager's report. Daniel Roberts.
Get back, I forgot what
You're not gonna miss doing these, are you?
Sir?
You're not gonna miss doing the city manager reports, are you now?
No, sir. Okay, we have two items for you. Just, this has been going on for, maybe a month now. The discussion and approval of the RFP for legal services. I know y'all went back and forth. We just need to know, is it good to go? We need to make changes, and we just need, everyone to vote it in Thursday night or make changes. That's really for y'all. We just need to know if everybody's good.
That's on the revised.
Yes, that's on the last one that Jeff was announced, maybe a week and a half ago.
Yeah, it was the one that had the small,
Yes, it was the edited version.
Yes.
I think it was called edited version.
yeah.
Thank you, Jeff, for adding the 8 copies. That was
Yes.
brilliant. I like it.
He's a pretty smart guy.
He is a pretty smart
It's
guy.
all him.
Right. I'm shocked, but you are.
So,
That really was good, Jeff, that 8 copies.
but I'm good with moving forward with that, are y'all?
Yes.
Okay. So we putting that on consent, or what are we doing? Do you need a,
I need an official, before people can proceed.
Proceed.
Are y'all ready to?
There's 2. If y'all wanna vote on it, y'all
If
can,
y'all-
might make a motion to proceed. Or
I
y'all do it Thursday night.
I can do it now, or we can do it Thursday, what do y'all wanna do? If we do it now, we can go ahead and get it out in the
Let's
next day.
roll.
Okay, then I make the motion that we approve the edited, version of the RFP for legal services.
Hang on just a second. I think your problem is it's not on your agenda, like the document
Ah,
itself
okay,
is not on the
okay.
agenda. So you can make a motion to approve an RFP, but we're gonna need to have it on as an action item as part of. So, because that actual RFP is not on the agenda, so.
Oh, okay.
or it's
So
not
even
included
though
in
it
your-
says discussion / approval?
Right, but what are you approving?
So.
That's what I'm saying.
RFP,
We
okay.
don't have it.
Like, the document is not in the public domain.
So we'll do it Thursday.
I believe it's only been shared amongst the city manager and the
Okay.
council.
Okay.
It's not in the public domain, so
Okay.
my suggestion would be that you place it on the agenda for Thursday if you're ready to adopt it.
Gotcha.
You'll need to add it to that, as an agenda
Thank
item.
you. We'll go add it, tomorrow
Alright.
morning to the
Okay,
agenda.
that's
Y'all
good.
vote on Thursday.
Okay.
And it'll be in final form, so it'll look a little different, it'll be final form.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul. Next was last month, or 2 months ago, whenever we met last, we talked about a roll-off permit. I have included that in your packet. Pretty much, it's a simple permit. The highlights are roll-off trailers, containers, similar structures placed on city property or within the right of way. Talks about that. We have a $2 fee per parking space size. I know the city policy defines a parking space somewhere in this policy, so it's based on that size. I want to say it's a 9 by 19. It's good for 90 days. If it's longer than 90 days, they would have to reapply for the permit. There's a $50 application fee for the permit, and then we charge $2 equivalent per day per parking space. So if you have 2 roll-off containers, it would be 2 parking spaces. And this is for roll-offs on city property. And it also talks about trailers, because some people may bring their own roll-off container. So if they won't put it on city property, it would have to meet that same requirement.
Can I make one, adjustment to this?
Absolutely.
The first sentence is all persons, contractors, and agencies, up there, the very first sentence.
Yes.
So that we stay true to our charter and that we avoid any future issues, can it, somewhere in there say that, any elected official or any city employee, that their request to place a roll-off dumpster on city property must come before council for approval?
Okay. All person covers it all.
But this doesn't go before council, they just go there and fill out their application fee. If we have a city employee or an elected official that wants to put something on a city property, that person needs to come. They don't just go and fill out their application fee and rock and roll. They have to come before city council.
Why would they be different?
Yeah, let me.
Because the charter says that you can't use the city property for benefit and gain and so on and so forth. I'm just trying to avoid another
If they're
issue.
paying, I think that may change that a little bit. If they're paying the same as everybody else, I think then they get treated
Right.
like everybody else. I think, that's kind of my first
Yeah,
thought.
I think you have an equal protection problem, because you're saying that if someone's status as a city employee or a city official, elected or appointed, that they need to go through a different process to have a roll-off.
I'm just trying to avoid any issues moving forward.
I understand it, but I'm just trying to understand what it is that you're asking to do. You're asking that if they're a city employee, a city elected official, or a city appointed official, and they want to place a roll-off or some sort of dumpster on city property, do they have to follow a different process than what this policy outlines?
That was my, yes.
Yeah, that would not be appropriate.
Okay,
It would be
alright.
the same as saying that a city official, a city employee, a city appointee wanted to purchase water from the city water department, and everyone else gets to go pay $100 application fee, get a water meter, get an account, but they have to show up before you and do something differently.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
think the first one that Danny said, I think that's
Okay.
submissible.
Yeah, that seems to be an equal protection
Okay.
problem. I would not suggest that.
All right.
And this is going forward, anybody that used it prior to that is grandfathered in. Okay.
I think the first one covered everything needed.
This would not, just so I go on record, this would not apply to, my opinion, to the library, the health department, the senior center, because they have dumpsters on city property for their businesses.
That's a city business.
Yes, well, it's a city building.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this would be over and above anything on a daily usage.
Yes. Are y'all good with the fees? $2 a day, $50 application fee, 90 days max. I'm good with that. Okay.
Did we decide anything on the trash cans behind the businesses?
No, we didn't, but I don't know if we
Working
can.
on it.
Oh, okay.
And it's gonna,
Sorry, was that?
working on the,
Like having dumpsters for
The
the
dumpsters.
businesses on Main Street.
trying to.
Yeah, that's
find
gonna
sites.
require a little bit more depth, because, our policies do require, if it's a food service, depending on what type of food service it is, it would require a septic hookup. So, it's not all businesses, but it could be some businesses. we need to go where the sewer line is though.
Well, let's stay on topic.
That's what I'm saying, that's not on that, it could be next, that could be on next month's agenda.
What's next month? I missed that.
The dumpsters behind the buildings, like a community, yeah, getting rid of the trash cans and having like a community dumpster that the businesses all use, but then yet they all have
Where'd
to.
y'all like that?
That's what we don't know.
I kinda need
I know, that's
area.
right, you and I talked about that.
If you go back here, I'll use the one that's.
So like behind 254 on one side and over there in the parking lot on the other?
I mean, I don't know what we're gonna ask for. We asking for a big dumpster that's behind a fenced-in area that's kept nice and,
Right.
you know, out of sight on the corner of the parking lot. Does it need to be over there behind, local bean in that little alleyway? I mean, I don't know. We don't gotta.
Yes, it has to be in the parking lot behind, on the town green side, and it needs to be one probably on 254 side. That's the city owned property.
I just know when you ride back there, it's, you know, it's a parking lot, it opens up the town green, but there is a lot of trash cans, a lot of trash cans. back there. So
Yeah,
it seems like a
it's a
dumpster would be a
family.
better solution than all of those trash cans. You know, and I think that if I owned one of those businesses that had all those trash cans, I'd rather have a dumpster.
Yeah, that can be done. It's just, I just need to know if you're okay with it going in a parking lot and taking up a good amount of space, cause now you might build a structure, sewer. Yeah. it'd be a
Cause they have to build
solution.
a certain base, they can't be just on concrete, regular concrete or asphalt, there's gotta be a substantial base, for the weight of those things, plus the truck.
I mean, the whole ordinance that we have to adhere to, but yeah.
What can you like,
I think
give
that's
us,
what we're asking.
yeah, I think we're asking that, but we need to know what it's gonna cost
Consider this.
per side to do that, cause you're talking about sewer lines and.
Yeah, dumpster corrals.
Yeah.
So the code now generally, don't quote me on this, but code now generally requires them to be covered. Right, so if you go to like a newer McDonald's, you see
Yeah.
them covered,
Yeah.
and requires the drain underneath to connect to the sewer system, so they're not cheap.
So
It's not just sitting in a dumpster out there.
Right,
So each one of them, each one of those dumpster corrals, they're very popular now. They're great for helping consolidate trash in your downtown core. But they are not just, hey, trash, not southern sanitation. Waste management, hey, waste management, go place a
Correct.
dumpster here. They need to be a little more processed and thought out.
yeah, so I think we need to know what the cost of those would be.
I mean, just something that would be designed.
Right.
Somebody, cause I have no idea what
Alright.
a brick, three-sided brick costs, but, you know, sewer tap and all that, that's easy cost, but it's construction costs, I'm gonna hire someone to build it. So, you know.
I just have one question. So if there's all these businesses, but this one on this end only generates one bag, but this one is a restaurant, how do we divide up the trash cost on a community dumpster?
Correct, that's something some of us have been talking about, how you do that, fairly. Cause yeah, hair salon has a whole lot less trash than a restaurant. And the restaurant's also gonna have that grease. And there's a restaurant over there behind, the Main Street buildings now, but if you look at it, I mean, that needs to be in an enclosure, that's kinda gross, you know? So it would also be inside that enclosure, I mean, but yeah, how do you do all that? That's what we're saying, we don't know.
That's easy,
Cost.
cost, just getting the cost of it. What's
Yeah,
the
get the cost and find out what it'd be and how many parking spaces we're gonna lose and things like that, and how to divide that up. Those are things that some of us have talked about.
Waste management, and I believe some others have done this before, so they might have some kind of formula or something. I know I haven't talked with Monroe about it, but city of Winder, what was it, Conyers? It is Winder, sorry. And they, talked about, yeah, they estimated this much for a restaurant and this much for a shop. So they just kinda already knew once we talked to them, but I don't know if they had waste management or what over there.
I just wanted to make sure that was
Yeah,
addressed,
maybe.
because we
Yeah.
have to divide it up when we're doing the billing. And as businesses move in and out, that's something that has to be kept up with, or, you know, the city loses out because we're being charged up front and then we're passing the cost on.
Correct.
So I just wanted to make sure that that was something that was addressed. Thank you
Yes,
for
thank you very
bringing
much,
that.
yes.
Okay, we'll work on that, maybe, I'll try next month, but maybe month after next, but we'll have to get some engineers and waste management, give some input. Yeah, I think we're going, is that consent, back to that? Okay, no changes, okay, good. Tell you, Jeff, I could write. I did. I think that's all I have, Mayor.
Alright, thank you, Danny, so much. Alright, Paul, city attorney update.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sad news, those who knew Sarah Bacon.
Yep.
She was married to Bill Bacon. Sarah passed away several years ago. Bill Bacon, he was, come here a lot with Sarah during the council meetings, but he passed away last Thursday. Looks like the funeral will be this Friday. Okay. Thanks for letting us know, Danny.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I don't have any actual items for you. One thing just came up though, the Winder did do downtown corrals a few years ago. They did a really good job with them. They actually put the ones that I'm most familiar with in the parking lot of their updated police department. So you can get by, but you'll look at it and see they did a great job on them. There's no way those are cheap structures, right? So where you place them, of course, is important. And you're never gonna make everybody happy if they're behind the business. Somebody's gonna have.
So it could be a little closer.
Yeah, so no actual items this evening for you. There is no need for an executive session this evening. Outside chance, it might be ready for Thursday. Highly doubt it, so I would suspect we'd have an executive session next work session for September. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have a question about September, Danny, our work session, I think it falls on Labor Day. Not positive, I mean, I think I was glancing through that today and didn't know. Absolutely double check me though.
Yes, you are great. We did? I thought we did too. I thought so too.
Yeah, the September meeting is combined meeting.
Okay. I missed
September
it.
and December.
Yeah. December maybe two is combined as well.
When, December?
I believe so.
Yeah, September and
We'll
December.
confirm that for Thursday. Haynes, will you confirm that for Thursday?
Alright, so is that it, Paul?
Yes, Mayor, I have nothing else.
Alright, now we are opening up for public comment. We do see we got some people here tonight. If you ever wanna come up, you have 5 minutes. State your name and address and, you know, try and stay on city topics about the page, you know, anything here in the city. But here's your time. I don't see any takers. Oh, here comes Lee. I'll go ahead and set my timer, Lee.
It'll be another
I like
30
you a
minutes,
lot,
y'all.
Lee, but gotta be fair.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lee Phillips, and I live at 4421 Pecan Street here in downtown Loganville. And I like the conversations we're having about the traffic. I think that we can get some good reflection if we look at what happened on Highway 78 in Snellville. For some of y'all, you might remember back in the day, when you traveled to Snellville, it was just a 2-lane highway, and when you got to 124, you had some old gas stations and things that were of the original town site. Well, then expansion happened and progress happened, and all those things were lost. But in the process, 78 past 124 boomed. New businesses came in, restaurants, and all kinds of other stuff, and it was going real good. And then they started having the problems like what we're seeing in front of the grocery store. So what they did was spend a lot of money making a lot of changes every 3 to 5 years. And if you look at what they have now, and you can remember back when they started making the changes, they pretty much got what they started out with because it was a good idea. And it solved the problems, but they thought that their knowledge of expansion was better. Well, we saw all kinds of things. Reverse lanes that, I mean, you're talking about confusing people and creating a safety problem. So we have to be really careful on how we proceed. And Snellville had lots of input on what the state did with that highway. It wasn't just all done by the state with them not having any input. They had input, and they thought that those designs that they picked were the best for what looked good, but they forgot about what was most important, and that was functionality. Sometimes the best solution is the most simplest idea. And so, also when it comes to the speed bumps, how about if we save all that money it would cost to put in the speed bumps and direct that money to officers that had radar in their vehicles that would patrol the downtown area streets more, and develop a zero tolerance policy instead of a, well, if they're just going 5 and 10 miles over the speed limit, we'll let that ride. How about let's change those things that don't cost money to make changes and save the money so that we can redirect it for a better idea that's more plausible, because I guarantee you, if you start writing tickets, people are going to change their behavior. They only have the behavior that they have because they have been allowed to have that behavior. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Lee.
Okay, I'm gonna make a comment as a citizen. The Historical Society of Loganville has a presentation this coming Sunday, August the 16th, 3 o'clock in the Fellowship Building of the Baptist Church across the street. I'll be making that presentation, and the title of the presentation is Deadly Flames, Denied Claims, the World War II Veteran That Ignited Loganville. It's gonna be a good show, good program. We had some stuff going back on in 1947 involving murder and arson. And I think everybody would enjoy hearing about some of our history that's a little out on the cuff. So everybody, it's free to the public. We welcome anybody to come, pass it along, tell your friends and neighbors. Thank you.
Real quick before we leave, Christy, I see you're back there. Can you come up here and talk to us about events real quick? I don't believe you're gonna be on Thursday, correct?
I'll not be here. Good evening, everyone. So next Friday night on the 21st is our Ribbon on the Green concert with Departure, the Journey Tribute Band. Starts at 7:30 p.m. Please come join us. It's free to attend. And then we have also opened up applications for Autumn Fest, which is Saturday, October the 17th. We already have a wide variety of people who have signed up, so we're excited now that the library will be open, and we have a lot of new things happening on downtown. We'll have a big day that day, so that's October the 17th. So please come join us.
All right, thank you so much. Anybody else? I know I called him first, I won't call anybody else. All right, going once, going twice. Can I get a motion to adjourn? That took a little while. All right, so we got a motion by Keith with a second to Lisa. All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Everybody have a good night.
All right, everybody, y'all remember, be safe out there, be good to one another, do something kind for someone, and y'all have a blessed day.